look for some of the words on the bounce cards that they're using in their dialogue. You know what I mean when I say that? Dialogue? Somebody tell me. Huh? In their script, how they talk. Exactly. Which disciplinary literacy strategy did I use to showcase this lesson? I used the bounce cards for a math lesson on multiplying and dividing fractions. Someone raise your hand and tell me what are the directions I just said we were going to do. Argo. Uh-huh. Or say, are we going to bounce? Yeah. So what I hear you saying is, and that's some strategies that I'm using, right? What I hear you saying is, Jasmine and Addie are going to do the bounce strategy. You're going to be listening for what?
Dialogue.
Huh? Dialogue and keywords in the bounce strategy, and then we're going to listen to some of what you're hearing, right? Any questions? No. Some things that led me to this is we were at the beginning of the year, and we were working on how to ask questions and how to respond to certain questions instead of just answering, yeah, I know that. The bounce strategy will allow the kids a little like a cheat sheet. So if they didn't know what to say, they could look at the cheat sheet and have questions that they could ask on the math lesson. Any questions what we're going to do? All right. Come on, Addie and Jasmine.
I use fractions when I cook, and I go by the recipe. I love to try new recipes.
I love to cook too. Can you tell me about when you multiply or divide fractions in cooking?
For example, when I bake cakes, I have to use 3.5 cups of flour per cake. For church, I need to make 3 cakes because a lot of people come. I have to multiply 3.5 times 3 to find out how much more flour to use.
Another example is when I use multiplying of fractions when I am baking cookies. The recipe calls for 3/4 cups of chocolate chip. I only use 2/3 of the recipe, so I can multiply 3/4 and 2/3.
Can you tell me more about how to know when to multiply and when to divide fractions? That always confuses me.
I agree. It is hard to tell when you should multiply and when you should divide. I read the problem a couple of times and think about what it is asking me. Then I look for keywords that help me know what to do.
Can you tell me more about that? I don't understand the keywords.
When it comes to multiplying fractions and percentage, the magic word is of. When several numbers of part of another number, you can have to multiply. Like in the recipe to make cookies, I need to find 2/3 of 3/4 of chocolate chip. I have to multiply.
So if I understand you correctly, you multiply when you are finding the part of another number. That reminds me of the time my teacher was helping me with a division problem. She said to look for the key words like 1, each, and per. If I couldn't find any key words, she said to draw out the problem to try to decide whether to divide or to multiply.
I agree. Sometimes I have to draw out problems too. I use the bar diagram that helps me learn about.
Can you tell me more about the bar diagrams?
There was this problem about a baking contest. 3/3 of the pie remains, and 8 people got a slice of the remaining pie. The question was, how much pie does each person get? I drew and divided into thirds. I shaded 2/3 to the remainder of the pie. The problem said 8 people got a slice of 2/3, so I multiplied. So I divided the 2/3 in 8 pieces for my picture. I knew each person would get 1 slice of pie, and each slice was 1/12 of the whole pie.
I like how you drew out the picture and could tell from what you were drawing that you were dividing. If you had multiplied 2/3 and 8 wholes, you would have gotten 5 and 1/3, and that would not make sense.
That is a great point. It's also good to think about the question and you get and ask yourself, does this problem make sense? If it doesn't, you know you have done something wrong and need to try another option.
I agree, because I often get answers wrong. When my teacher gives me back my test, I realize my answer makes no sense.
That happens to me too. It is important. It is most important in solving a problem, a word problem, is to read it carefully and be sure that you know what it is saying. Then you can tell if your answer makes sense.
I like how you brought up reading the problem carefully and knowing what it is asking you. I need to slow down on these word problems. They are difficult, but I can do them.
On this one is learning how to multiply and divide fractions. If you don't know how to do it, asking a question and just saying, I don't understand. With the bounce cards, it gave them more opportunity to describe what they didn't understand and using more vocabulary that they could to use in the bounce strategy. Raise your hand and tell me some of the words that you heard them in the strategy.
That reminds me of
That reminds me of, do you remember kind of what she was talking about?
fractions.
Fractions? Yeah.
If I hear you correctly.
If I hear you correctly. Do you remember which one said that?
I think
Addie?
So if I understand you correctly.
So if I understand you correctly. And
I like how you said that.
I like how you said that. So we've heard that one a couple times. What surprised me the most is I had, me and a team teacher had come up with a script. Thank you. We came up with a script of students talking to each other. And they read the script in front of the class, and I was surprised about how the rest of the class really listened to the script, because then they could ask certain questions that they didn't understand, and it went back. And I was surprised about that. And I really liked that part, them having something to read, because they wouldn't really know what to ask each other or how to say it. But then when the script they had to go by, the rest of the class had a better understanding of it. You know, we've done the bounce strategy now, what, 4 or 5 times? 5. So, anything else you want to add about the bounce strategy? I mean, the more we're going to use it, the better we get at it. AJ.
Stay on topic.
Stay on topic. Huge.
Asking questions and waiting until the speaker is done to talk instead of cutting them off.
You have to wait. You have to give that wait time. Because if you don't give wait time, you almost kind of shut the student down. Because if I say, does anybody explain that to me? If I just say, okay, why don't you get it? Blah, blah. I mean, you'd be like, whoa. You got to give that wait time.
You're not giving them time to explain what they don't get. You're
Right.
not giving them time to let you know what they don't know how to do.
Right.
And then you just cutting them off.
Correct. All right, one more thing, and we'll wrap it up.
The more that you focus on the talking, the more that y'all have more to bounce off of.
Exactly. I like how she said that. And using those, and I'm going to get better at trying to use some of those key words on there. I like how he said that. Let's reflect on that kind of stuff. What did I like most? I liked most was the students implementing the script and how the class responded to the answers and how they really listened once they had an example to go by.